And we're talking right now with Rocky Long, head coach of the Aztecs here on Extra Sports 1360. Coach, I don't know how to explain it. It seems like your team likes a lot less time to prepare for a game as opposed to a lot more time. Is it just that, or is there more to it?
Well, I don't know what it is exactly, or we would have fixed it by now. I know that we got into the game and we played terrible defense in the first half, and they scored 30 points, and the offense started off the game really well in the first quarter. We kind of stalled a little bit in the second quarter. We couldn't keep up with their scoring. And then in the second half, I thought we played really well on defense, and we played pretty good on offense. We moved the heck out of the football. We just didn't get enough touchdowns.
When you talk about playing poorly on defense in the first half, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You gave up all those yards, all those points. But what did you guys not do defensively in the first half that really hurt you in that game?
Well, I think that their abilities and their speed shocked us a little bit, and that might be a little bit of not playing for 2.5 weeks. But basically, they hit us on two big screen plays, and the two big screen plays were not assignment errors, but they were technique fundamental errors. We played the screens the wrong way. They got big plays out of it, and it kind of put us on our heels. And then when we got to the sidelines, I think that our defense was shocked and they never regrouped until we got them in the locker room at halftime.
Is there something extra deflating about giving up a 3rd and long? And, of course, you guys gave up several of them in that first half. That kind of must take the wind out of the sails of a defense.
Yeah, I think it ruins your confidence, and now all of a sudden you start looking around and not playing as hard, and you don't play up to your athletic ability. And we regrouped at halftime, and I'm proud of the way they came out and fought the second half. But the way we got stoned early in that game on defense, I think it really put us back on our heels, and we didn't play worth a darn the whole first half.
Rocky Long is with us. Aztecs coming off a disappointment, a loss to Wyoming 30-27 on Saturday night, but still at 4-3. New Mexico coming to town on Saturday night. Coach, we can't get through that entire game without at least mentioning a record-setting run by Ronnie Hillman, a 99-yarder. You don't get to see those every day. And, it wasn't a game-winning performance, and I know that you can throw statistics out the window a little bit when you lose, but this kid still does stuff every single game that just amazes you that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, that was a great run. I mean, offensive lineman got him started with some pretty good blocking, but once he got into the open field, he made a couple guys miss, and then he outran everybody else, and a couple wide receivers made key blocks down the field, and 99 yards. I think it was a big spark. I think it got the crowd back in the game, and after that, we played pretty darn good. We played inspired football. We didn't play very consistently on offense because we had chances to score more than we did, but that big play really put the crowd back into it, and I think that made a big difference.
What's your plan moving forward as it relates to place kicking? I know, everyone was very high on Abel Perez at the start of the season, and he's done well in the past, but he's obviously struggling right now. What are your thoughts, Coach?
Well, we'll see how he does in practice. It wasn't only Abel that we lost, the reason we lost, but he had 2 field goals that were makeable. He makes them both, we probably win. If he makes one, we're in overtime. He probably feels worse than anybody about it. When you watch the film, it's technique. His technique's not sound or solid, or it wasn't on Saturday. I think he'll be like any other position. I think he'll take responsibility for it and work hard and try to get better. But if he continues to struggle, we'll probably go for a lot more 4th downs.
Coach, what's the other side of that loss, of course, is it's your second loss in conference and realistically probably takes you out of contention for the conference championship, but you still have a bowl game potentially to focus on. Does that become the new focus now, and are you concerned that your club is going to be a little bit down and out and you got to get them back up?
Well, you're right. I think with 2 losses, there's no chance to win the conference title. I think it's going to be a no-loss or one-loss team. We've got to win. In my estimation, we got to win at least 3 more games to guarantee a spot in a bowl game. If we win 2 more, we're eligible, but that doesn't mean we'll get a bowl bid. I think that's a big-time goal right now. Our goal is to get back where we're playing consistently and playing better football than we are right now.
Coach, many times you've hyped up the opponent each week. We certainly should have listened to you a little bit more about how good Wyoming was. I think many of the fans were caught off guard. But When you look ahead to this Saturday's game against New Mexico, they have really been struggling against everyone very badly. What have you seen so far on tape? Of course, that's your old school as well, and what dangers, if any, do they pose?
Well, what I've seen on film is, like you say, they're struggling some, but I see a bunch of kids that are still playing hard and trying hard, and that means they're practicing hard and they're practicing well, and they want to win just as bad as everybody else does. And then if you look at the last 2 years that we've played them, we've really struggled to beat them. Last year it was 10-6 going in at halftime, except we hit a Hail Mary right before halftime. It's 27-13 with them on our 10 or 11 yard line late in the fourth quarter. The year before that, we beat them by a field goal. I think they get, well, I know because of experience, that the New Mexico kids get really excited about coming to San Diego because they think it's a big deal playing in a pro stadium. So I will bet we'll get their very best game, and if anybody out there, including our players, thinks it's going to be easy, I think they ought to learn from last week.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is the kind of game I think this week, Coach, where you're a little bit more concerned about your kids and making sure you guys get back up to the level you're capable of. I think that would seem to be of paramount importance to you and your staff.
I think that is the most important every week, that your team's prepared and your team plays hard and plays well. And if that's the case, the only people that are going to beat you are ones that have more talent.
In the past couple of years, when you served as defensive coordinator, you didn't really like to talk much during New Mexico week about your time there or anything having to do with that program. What's going to be your stance this week? I'll just get the foot started on what's Rocky Long's take on facing his old school this week.
Well, I think it was pretty emotional the first year after I left there, and since I played there, I have some loyalties to the school, obviously. But this is a game that we have to win, and I think the emotion part is faded quite a bit over the last couple of years.
Last thing, Coach, I thought, right after the game on Saturday night, you and your staff took the credit for the loss and said, we didn't prepare our guys well. In fact, I think you said you thought you did one of your poor jobs at coaching. What does that mean to you and your team to hear I think to hear the coaching staff take responsibility, accountability for a game that didn't go as planned?
Well, I don't know what it means to the team. We're just being honest. Anytime a team performs below your own expectations, everybody has to take responsibility, and that falls on me, number one, because I thought it didn't look like our team was prepared on defense, even though X and O-wise we were fine. We didn't play very well or didn't play up to our expectation. I don't know what it means to the team. We're just being honest about whose fault it is.
Well, Coach, good luck on Saturday night against the Lobos, and hopefully we'll be talking about a win on Monday and getting ready for a couple of more big games against Colorado State and Boise State just around the corner. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.